I knew Great Master for many years. He knew me even earlier. He knew me before I was born. I knew him 29 days after birth in his physical form. My mother was pregnant in her 5th month when she had a dream. It's a personal event I'm sharing with you today. I normally don't do that. My mother was pregnant in the 5th month when she had the quickening and saw the baby moving inside her. She had a dream that night. In the dream, she saw a plastic doll. In those days, they used to have those pink-colored plastic dolls they used to sell in India. And she saw a plastic doll on the mantelpiece for the fireplace. Above the fireplace, she saw. In the dream, she says, I never placed that doll there. How did it come there? And as she looked at the doll began to shake and became a small human baby. And that baby raised its hand like this and began to give a discourse to her. She was surprised at that strange dream. So she went to Great Master and she narrated her dream to him. And he said, yeah, this is the sign of the child who's coming, who's being born to you. He has been lecturing a lot in the past and will keep on lecturing in the next life after his birth. I had no idea I'll be doing this. She didn't tell me the dream much later. So he knew me before I was born. My dad was very insistent to take that little baby after birth to see the Great Master who had said these things. And he wanted to take this little baby on Christmas Day because the British were ruling and Christianity was coming in a big way in the country at that time. Christmas, 25th of December, was called a big day. So he said, I want to take the baby on the big day to see the Great Master. I was born on 26th of November. My grandmother was totally opposed to the idea of taking a baby, newly born baby, out of the house for 40 days. She said, under no circumstances will I allow this child to get out of the house prior to 40 days period and cannot be taken on the 25th of December. There was a fight in the house. Ultimately, my dad prevailed. And on the 25th of December, started my first journey out from my little house in Lahore, which is now in Pakistan, to the Dera in Bias. People warned that there is no proper road there, that the baby could get killed on the way because so small, 29 days old baby will not survive. And they assured, no, we will hire a bullock cart and take a mattress with us and spread the mattress and have a nice blanket. I traveled in great luxury at 29 days age to my master. On arrival, I was taken to the Great Master. And he looked at me and with his hand, he gave me little, what should I call it? Pat? Not a slap. A little pat, all right. He gave a little pat on the cheek and he said, do you recognize me? First words of the Great Master. Of course, at that time, or many years later, I couldn't remember this. I was just told the story. Much later, after I associated with Great Master, and especially after initiation, I was able to recall this event myself. I still can't forget it, that this happened. This is the first encounter with the Great Master. Early on, the Great Master watched over me that I was taken good care of. He instructed my parents, never scold this baby, never beat him, never slap him, under any circumstances. And I was very pampered after that. They had to carry out the orders of Great Master, all to my benefit. I grew up in that pampered, golden spoon in my mouth. I used to have some nightmares. I used to have a very strange running dream that used to come every night when I would, in the morning, and I was just, I think, 4 or 5 years old, when I used to have dreams of some big monsters coming. And one of the big monsters looked like a very tall person who would come and dance with big, loud noise and frighten me. And I would scream at looking at that monster. And my parents would say, he's having a dream. And I would say, no, I'm not having a dream, I can hear you. I can't open my eyes. I would sit up in bed and unable to face that big monster. He never hurt me, never did anything except appearance was frightening by itself, though nothing ever was by way of hurt or harm caused to me, but the appearance was frightening. So I would scream. And my parents got very worried that what is happening, because it happened every morning. For about 7 days it went on. And so they had to go to Great Master and report this strange dream coming to this young child, and it frightens him and he can't get over it. Great Master said, this is the last effort of Kal, the negative power, to frighten him. Don't worry, it's over now. That never happened again in my life. That was the last of it. But that was a great event for me to know that there is negative power, and negative power affects us in that way, that the negative power will affect people, that it affects people throughout their life, that people live in fear. It is a great learning which I have understood as time has gone on. And the Great Master's intervention, divine intervention, stopped that forever. At age 3 or 4, I'm giving you my biography because somebody wants to write a biography. So I'm telling everybody my biography today. I don't tell it like this. On this day, I have sought special permission from a master to reveal all this personal details of a seeker. At that age of between 3 and 4, I could hear loud sounds, bell-like sounds, coming from somewhere. I always thought they're coming from somewhere outside. I would go to the window of my house to see where the sound is coming from. It didn't look like it was coming from that direction. So I'd go to the other side of the house to see if it was coming from that side. And I found it wasn't there. Every time I looked at, I couldn't determine the direction. Who was ringing those bells and who was creating that noise? I was perturbed by the fact that nobody else heard it. My parents would say, no, you're just imagining it. That bothered me a lot. That here I can hear something so loud and they can't hear it. I must be crazy. Something has gone wrong with me. And that sound kept on and on for years till I got used to it. At age 4, my father, who was a teacher in a college, was transferred to Dharamsala, a hill city in India, where he taught in the college there. And I, as a 4-year-old, was being trained to go to primary school there, to go to some kind of an elementary school, when one day 3 Italian monks, Buddhist monks, came with their begging bowls, the black begging bowls, and came from house to house begging for food. They came to our house and sat down. And they were sitting in the living room of our house in Dharamsala. And I was outside watching my mom baking cookies. She was baking some little cookies herself. And they waited patiently. I just happened to peep inside who these people were. They were wearing Buddhist robes. And when they saw me peeping in, they asked my father, "Is that your son?" My father said, "Yes." They said, "Can we ask him some questions?" My dad said, "Yes, what kind of questions? He doesn't speak your language, doesn't even speak much." They said, "Write down 5 questions and ask him the answers." My dad wrote down 5 questions and called me in and said, "These are guests from Italy. They are Italian guests, they are Buddhist, and they want to have answers to these 5 questions. Do you have answers?" I said, "Yes." I gave 5 answers. My father repeated the 5 answers to those 3 monks, and the monks said, "This boy belongs to us."
No.
Yes. They said, "We are going to take him away." My dad said, "Is that a normal practice for you to go to somebody's house, ask questions and take kids away?" They said, "No, we never done this with anybody. But this kid will go with us. He doesn't belong to you." And then, of course, my mother also came in. "What is going on?" My dad said, "These guys asked some questions from this little kid, and he's a 4-year-old kid and they want to take him away." They said to my dad, "If you don't believe me, ask him." So my dad asked me, "You want to stay here or go with them?" I said, "Go with them." And I walked out with them. They thought it's a joke that I'll go up to the gate of the house and come back. I didn't. They went up to the gate and I walked with those 3 monks, and there was a turning about 100 yards away. The lane turned, and as we turned, they could not see me. I disappeared with those 3 monks. I went to the monks, and I was small. They prepared some tea, or what they call kava, and they served that kava, and I also took some. I felt very happy in my surroundings, that I was now in my right place. Never occurred to me I've left my home or anything. I felt that was the right place, this is also the right place. They got very worried, they couldn't see, they reported to the police. The police, those 3 monks, because they were Italians, had already registered with the police where they were staying. It was just a little shack. And they came and they said, "How could you take the boy?" They said, "Boys come willingly with us." We took him from the father and mother. So I was restored back, much to my dismay, back to my parents. This went on till I went to the Dera frequently and met this great master over and over again. He became like a child for me. He would play games like a child. He had very special affection and had great faith and confidence in me, which nobody else had. In fact, on the very first anniversary of my birth, a bandara that took place almost a month later, on the 29th of December, 1927, I was 1 year and 1 month old, hardly crawling and then standing up, and not even sitting too well. On that Bandara day, Great Master asked my dad, when I came to the satsang, it was a little larger crowd than in the beginning. Great Master said, put him on the stage next to me. And my dad said, Master, he's too small. He can't even sit that long. Put him on the stage. I mean, Master could be sometimes very assertive like that. And my father had no choice but to put me, and I, out of either fear or something, sat there as a baby so rigidly that I stood the whole of that Bandara for the whole period without movement. The Great Master knew I could do this. My father didn't. My father only took a picture of that, which I saw much later again. I said, who is that little baby sitting with the Great Master? He told me, it's you. I took this picture. Great Master had great faith. We would go and play around. It was like a family affair. So he gave me a lot of very personal affection that you cannot get normally in this world. My sound kept on going. One day my grandfather decided this boy should get half initiation. Great Master used to give half initiation to young children who were ready. Half initiation consisted of telling them how to listen to the sound. When they grew up and became teenagers, he would give the second half, how to do Simran, repetition, and then complete the initiation process. He called it half initiation. And those who were already teenagers, he gave them half initiation of repeating the Simran. And when they made some progress, he would give the other half of the sound, and the initiation was complete. He did this with the children of a younger age. So my grandfather, who had become a disciple after my father was the first one in the family to become a disciple of Great Master, because he found him to be a great teacher of philosophy. My father was a student of philosophy and used to ask questions in the metaphysics class about free will, God, how can these things be together, so on, which they could not answer. The professors could not answer. And the Great Master answered that. So he told his professors, I found the real professor of philosophy who answered my questions. So after that, all the other members of the family got initiated from Great Master. So my grandfather, who was very, very, very pious man, elderly, well versed in the scriptures, he said to me, I want to take you, we were in the Dera, I want to take you to the Master to get you half initiation. So he brought me to the Master. And the Master saw me, caught hold of me by one arm and said, what kind of initiation do you want? Salted or sweet? I had seen him do that with many kids. I had seen many times that he had told children what kind of initiation you want. They would always say sweet. And he had some sweets next to him. He would give them a sweets and they would run away. I knew the same trick is being played on me now. I said, no, not that kind. I want that, something inside here. So he laughed and said nothing. I was not sure if I am going to be given half initiation or not. So I thought now I should run away. This salt and sweet thing is over now. And he has not said anything. But he held a very good grip on my arm, so I couldn't run away. And this was selection going on, what they called chanti there. The chanti was going on, so he was examining other candidates for initiation and telling them somebody is ready, somebody is not yet ready. And as he was selecting them, when the selection was over, he still not let go of my arm. He said, come inside, you'll get full initiation. Which was a surprise for everybody. And he gave me the initiation. And it was a great experience because I remember the words that he used so clearly. as if he's speaking today. The opening words at initiation were so remarkable that they formed the foundation of my knowledge given to me by that man. His opening words at initiation were, "What I have got is from my master. It has worked for me. I am giving to you this initiation and hope it will work for you. If you find something better than this at any time, go and take it. You do not need any more permission. I give you permission in advance. If you find something better, take it. Please do me one favor, that when you get something better, you come back and tell me, so I will also go and take it." The great master's words. I took them very seriously. And I said, it is my duty now to search for something better. And I have searched all my life. It's more than 75 years ago when that event took place. And I'm still searching if I can find something better. I have not only not found anything better, I have not even found anybody talk about something better. That was a great experience, that this openness, a challenge, go and find something better, was a very big thing for me. But then something very strange happened. I came home and my father was informed that by my grandfather that your son Ishwar has been initiated and given full initiation by the great master, which is very strange for him at this age, not even 10 years old. So it is an exception he has made. My father was so happy, overjoyed, that some 2 other satsangis came and he told them, "You know what good news, my son got full initiation." And they said, "Oh, we are very sorry to hear that." They were followers of great master who told him they were very sorry to hear that I was initiated. And they said, "Do you realize what has happened? You have got him initiated at such a young age. When he grows up, he'll find that you just indoctrinated him and he never had a chance to look for something himself. Therefore, it's not good for the child. You should have allowed him to grow up, search for himself, and then found what is right for him. You did get something very bad." My parents were shocked, but I was overhearing this conversation in the other room. I agreed with them. I said, "What a silly thing, I am thinking I got something big, and I have got something without knowing if there anything else available. I never had an opportunity to examine anything. And this was just because I was born to this family that I am following this path. That's not fair to me at all. I should have an opportunity to see what else is available and make a choice." Then I realized that all the kids in the world are with this handicap, that they are just being indoctrinated by the religion, the spiritual belief of their parents. When do they get a chance to decide what they want? I might, as a footnote, tell you that I was more mature in my thinking at that time than I am now. I must have grown in reverse. I used to feel I am very old when I was young, and I feel very small when I am now. So I might have grown in the reverse. But these thoughts came to me very strongly, that this is not the way to get onto a spiritual path, that just because my dad believes in it, my family believes in it, I should also follow it. Where did I get a chance to examine anything? First thing that happened after that was the sound that was coming for all these years stopped. People get sound after initiation, my sound stopped after initiation. I couldn't hear anything. And I became a bigger rebel against the path, because I never got a chance to make my own selection, to examine what else is available in this world, what spiritual discipline one can follow. Then I began a search. Then in my teenage years. My entire 8 years, I was a rebel against the path. Because those two satsangis who came and told my dad that this was injustice done to this boy, they also quoted the example of another boy who at age 11 had been initiated. And he was the son of a very great disciple of great master. That disciple was Bhagat Singh, who great master at one time named as his successor. His son is today an attorney, practicing attorney, who has come to me and questioned me several times how I can follow blindly a faith like that because my father believed. He still has not been able to reconcile with this path. They said, do you remember his case? He was called Nicky as a pet name. Do you know Nicky's case? How he was initiated when he was very young, and when he grew up, he grew against the path. He said he had never had a chance. This is just forced upon him. You can never force a path upon somebody. So then started my journey into examining options available. My whole teenage years and even right into early high school and so on was spent in searching. I went into religions, got baptized, had a dip, got converted to Islam. All other religions, went into yoga centers, practiced Kundalini yoga, Hatha yoga, went with the yogis to places where they would give you sand and some mustard seed and so on, a drink made of which would make you impotent and not sexually active at all, so that's a requirement in that sect to be a good yogi. Practice those things. Practice such wild kind of things in order to see if there is something better than what I got from great master. All those years I spent in trying to discover. After 8 years, I came back to great master. Master, I have examined everything. He said, I am very happy to hear that. Today, at age 86 plus, I can tell you, I am sure he put me through this. Today I meet the yogis and I meet those people, I know exactly what they are doing. Because I did it myself. It's not something that I am hearing from them. I am just remembering what I did. That's why I can answer their questions too. I can tell them exactly what they are doing. I went through it. He gave me a good training. Put me through the right places, actually. After that, of course, once I was back on the path, I would ask questions from great master. Every little event that happened in my life, externally and internally, I would ask him. At one time, he asked me to maintain a diary of events. Any bad thoughts that come, good thoughts that come, write down everything.
Bad thoughts?
Bad thoughts and good thoughts. I wrote bad thoughts and good thoughts. Jewel, you also had bad thoughts, Pans. We all have. We've all had, because we divide them ourselves into what are good thoughts and bad thoughts by a process called conscience. Our own conscience tells us this.
How can you get rid of them? How did you get rid of them?
How do you know I got rid of them? Anyway, the diary process didn't last very long, because then I found I didn't need a diary, because his grace was immense. It was such a great grace I saw. I asked him question after question. Every inner experience I had, I would go and check with him what it meant. 1942 was the last question I asked him. I've never asked a question after that. There was no question I could ask after that, till today. He had answered all the questions that I could ever think of. He has answered all the questions that anybody has ever asked me after that. It's just an amazing miracle he performed in answering questions, because the rest of the questions were all answered within. All questions have answers within ourselves. At least he put me on track where the answers lie. So that worked very well. I never asked a question. A few years from 1942 till 45, 46 were the best years, where I could practice meditation earnestly. I said, if there is something really that high, let me try it out fully. It doesn't matter if I have to meditate 8 hours, 10 hours a day, it doesn't matter. So those were the days of putting great effort into it. Then came the days of no effort, effortlessness. I found that both of them work well. Putting in effort and not putting in effort eventually become the same thing. Depending upon His grace and love, and depending upon your effort, eventually you find both come from His grace. You cannot put that effort unless you have that grace, and when you have the grace, you need nothing more. You can see the effect of it straight away. After that, my life took me into so many jobs that I had to do externally. Put me into business, put me into government jobs, put me into worldly activities, travels around the world. I did everything. But He never left me. He did everything for me. He made a deal with me which is so beautiful. And that deal has worked. And that deal came when I heard a discourse of his satsang, in which he said, it was from a shabad, from one of the scriptures. In Punjabi it said, Kaya Nagar. I don't know, you won't understand, I'll translate. Kaya Nagar, Nagar hai Niko, which Sauda har ras kije. The song relates to this body being a city. In this city, there are many marketplaces. And there's a nice marketplace behind the eyes. And the book says, if you want to have a real deal, go there to that marketplace. I went to the great master. I said, I heard your discourse today. What about a deal in that marketplace? He said, sure. I said, a deal means I give you something, you give me something. It's a transaction, isn't that right? He said, exactly. In a marketplace, a business deal is you get something and you pay for it in another way. So you give something and you take something. Great master agreed. That's a deal. So I said, Master, how about I give you all the pain and suffering and worry that I will get in this world, and you give me all the joy and happiness that it can. I thought he might laugh at it. He said, done. From that day, he's kept his word, I've kept mine. What a deal. That such a deal was possible, I couldn't imagine. It worked. Now, people say, we want the deal. I said, sure. Anybody can get this deal. Anybody can get the deal. The difficulty is not of getting the deal. The difficulty is getting to do your own share of the deal. The share of the deal was, I'll give your worry and my problems to you. People don't do that. They worry themselves. There the deal breaks. If you are really ready to give your worry and your problems to the master, he'll take care of it. Now I have been sharing these things with you for years now. I've been talking to you to such an extent that I have become almost like a parrot. The other day somebody asked me, how do you know all this? I said, I'm repeating like a parrot all that I've learned. The truth is that the masters, perfect living masters, can do everything for you. I did so many jobs. I was the chief secretary of a state government in India. A very responsible job. About 50 secretaries reporting to me, 100 heads of department reporting to me. And I knew nothing of that work. And I saw who was doing it. I was very successful. They all thought I was the successful chief secretary. I wasn't. Great Master was the chief secretary. Great Master did everything. I didn't know what I'm going to speak. And I spoke like that. I came to this country in the 60s and met some people who were disciples of some masters from India, and met different, because I had met all the current masters people talk to me about. I met all of them in my lifetime. So they were disciples, so I happened to mention this deal to them. They were very upset. They said, that's something very wrong you did. I said, I got a great deal and you say it's the wrong thing. I thought I was a very good businessman, spiritual businessman. They said, no, it's very unfair to your master to put all your burden on the master and to get all the goodies for yourself and put the burden on the master. It's so unfair, so unjust. You did something very bad. They almost made me feel guilty that maybe I did something wrong. Then I thought to myself, they don't know anything what a master is. They have no idea what a perfect living master is. They have no idea he operates outside and inside of us. They have no idea he can sit inside and do everything that is required to be done. And then I put myself up in shape and I said, no, there's nothing to be guilty about, because the deal is open to all. We have to be ready for it. If we are not ready for a deal, we are not willing to give up our worries and problems and don't have enough faith in a master, how will you get the deal? The deal requires complete, unshakable faith that the master will do everything for you, and he will do everything for you. It's a question of the level of your faith. If you don't have faith, if you say, well, I want to give him the problem, but I'm not sure if he knows really enough how to handle it, there's no deal.